Hi everybody, and welcome to Ada High School here for this GA Windsor & Son Pigskin preview with the Ada Bulldogs, Mark Kuntz and Chris Parks, joined by the head coach Bob Olwin, who's in his first season here as an Ada Bulldog football coach. He's been well-traveled, lots of coaching experience here. You take over a program, coach, it's been to the playoffs the last 6-7 seasons now. You've got to be happy with that kind of tradition, and I'm sure you want to build on it here this season.
It's been 7 years in a row. That's one of the reasons to come here. I think they have quality athletes here. The kids work really hard. Obviously, the pressure's on to make it 8 years in a row. But, you know, I think they found out this morning that we're going to work a little different. I have a different philosophy than Coach Fell, but it all stems from what happens out on the playing field on Friday nights. And, you know, we expect to polish this up, our stuff, new stuff up, and get after our opponents starting the 31st.
As Chris mentioned, you've been at Millbury Lake, you've been at Versailles, you've been at Fairview, you've been in several different places. You've kind of had that experience before of being the guy who follows the guy. And with the tradition that Mike Fell laid down here in Ada, you said things are going to be different, but at the same time, offensively, we know Bob Olwin teams love to throw the ball around.
Well, I think you put your DNA on the program, you know, and several of those coaches, Al Hetrick, Joe Metzger, Mike Fell, Buzz Kirkhart from Tiffin Calvert followed those guys. And they had their trademark, and I have, you know, the way I feel to do things to be successful, and that's just what you do. You get everybody to buy in and have faith, and faith with belief without proof, and we sell that to the kids, and we just work as hard as we possibly can as a coach. We work as hard as we can when we get out on the field with the players, and just try to be very knowledgeable about our opponents. And at that time, when the whistle blows, it's the same as, you know, those guys. You know, I'm not comparing myself to Al Hetrick or anybody, but, you know, we're striving to be that good, you know, and that's why I'm still coaching, is to be that good, you know. And football's really important to my life, and it's been, you know, this is the 35th year of coaching, and I told the kids, they're griping about going through two-a-days for 4 years, you know, those older kids, and I said, well, it's only about my 45th or 46th, so stop crying and let's get to work.
Getting to work here. First day of practice kind of under your belts already. Guys are bringing in the practice equipment. Assess your first day here, and just how good is it to be back out on these fields here again in August?
You know, it's one of those things that from the end of the season last year to now seems like it takes 10 years. And the older I get and everything, I really want to just start back up as soon as the season's over and go start another season and just keep going. And I haven't found out how to do that yet, and maybe go to Texas and coach and then come back and coach or something like that. But I'm just very comfortable out here. The weather is great for us. At times, we really, really worked hard today. Other times, we were learning and standing around, and that's what two-a-days is about and everything. But we've had a great start. Coach Fell was great with me when I first got here and showed me around and showed me everything that had taken place. And the assistant coaches are all from Ada, and they've been fantastic for us. The kids have worked unbelievably hard in the weight room. They're the strongest team I've ever had, you know, and the potential's here to be very good again, and that's what we're striving to do.
Coming off a 10-2 season, a lot of seniors on last year's team. Coming in, does that make it a little bit easier? The fact that you weren't here last year, so you can't rely on what happened last year, and there's going to be new faces regardless of who's going to be the coach this year.
Well, that's always the way it is. You know, you always have a graduating class, and they leave holes in the water. And if you put your fist in the water and then that makes a hole in that water, and those kids graduate. Okay, and when you take the fist out, somebody has to fill those holes in, and that's the guys that are here now, the senior class this year, and then the juniors and anybody that can play as a sophomore or freshman. So it doesn't matter where you're at. You know, you could be at Fairview for 13 years, and it happened every year there for us. And Versailles for 4, you know, and everything. So we always had people to replace, and you just, that's what you go to work and try to do is make sure that you have all those gaps covered. Somebody steps up. There's always kids that step up. There's always kids that disappoint you. You know, and we're trying to eliminate those kids that disappoint us and teach those other kids quickly how to step up and be a great part, have their role, know their role, and do their role to their ability.
What are your numbers like this season coming out thus far, the first day of camp? How many kids are you expecting on the team and such like that?
I expected 60 or 70,
Okay.
and I got 34.
Okay.
So we got a lot of work to do in that regard. I get into school and start teaching and start learning some kids'
Certainly.
names, and then work with the junior high and maybe go down and work with the midgets a little bit. And then we'll try to get the numbers up in more of a favorable position there, and we'll have more depth and more competition at positions.
Certainly there's been a great line of quarterbacks at Ada. Mason Atchison graduated last year. Do you know yet who's going to be the next guy who's going to replace that hole in the water at quarterback?
Well, if he listens to me, I do. We've had great tradition at Ada. There's 4 or 5 really good ones in the last 7 years. And we can name all of them. They were fantastic. And it looks like Matt Wilcox will be the starter right now, unless Austin Dunball beats him out, and or he doesn't listen. And then we might go to the single wing and just snap it to Hunter Waller or Blake Ansley or somebody like that. So, or Long Green, we could do that as well. So we'll do a combination of a lot of different things. The package will be close to what I probably did at Versailles, but we'll have some tweaks there based on our abilities.
Kind of coming into this season here, you already mentioned all those guys that we'll see here shortly. Talk a little bit about the skill set they bring, your captains that you have for their senior seasons here, and just how special players do you think they're going to be here in 2013?
Well, I think they have to form their own legacy. And we talk about that. In the past, legacy's already been created.
Certainly.
Now, what is your legacy going to be? And I think they all have special qualities. Each kid does, and then it's how they fit into the team's role, what their role is, and how they fit into the team chemistry and all that stuff. So we feel that we're only as strong as the weakest kid on the team or the weakest link, and we got to make all those kids better so that our older kids our first level kids get better as well. So they have to push them, and we expect the older kids to give back to the program by teaching the younger kids when they're not in doing the activity.
Bob Olin speaking words of wisdom here at the Ada Bulldogs. We're going to take a timeout in this GA Windsor & Son football preview. And when we come back, we'll hear from some of those Bulldog captains here on WOSN.
Is that
Welcome back to this GA Windsor & Son football preview. Mark Kuntz and Chris Parks here with the Ada Bulldogs as we begin our second segment here. Matt Wilcox on the far end of the set, and then Saad All-We-Met sitting right next to me here.
Yeah.
He's Saad's happy I got his name pronounced right. That's a tough name.
Yeah, it is.
So let's start first off with you here. You don't have the pads on yet, but you guys are out here for the first day of practice. What's it like getting back out on this field and getting ready to hit some people here soon?
It feels great, really. Like just all this. You can let loose now, from like the entire weight from like before and like the off season, and like now you're here on the field and it just feels great.
You're in the weight room there. Everyone's kind of compact and everything, just kind of lifting weights, and now you guys are out here in the open. I'm sure you're probably looking forward to getting out and doing some running out here.
Yes, sir.
Matt, how did the summer go for you guys?
The summer went great. Our team is really strong, and I was real surprised then once we did our liftathon and our max outs by the end of the lifting season. And I was just so happy to know that my line is definitely one of the strongest has been through here, so they'll be protecting me pretty well. And, we've put in the work, we put in the hours, so we're just ready for the season now.
Saad, you guys have such a great tradition here, playoffs since 2006, hoping to make it your 8th straight year here. What's it like playing for such a tradition like Ada here, knowing you guys have high expectations every year?
Honestly, I feel like we don't think about it, honestly. Like, I feel like we just go out there and play and go 110% no matter what.
So, do you think the defense at Ada has been overlooked the last couple of years? Because everybody talks about the offense and the big numbers, but defensively, you guys have been a very stingy defense over the last several seasons.
Yeah, I feel like our defense is phenomenal. I think it's the best. I think it's the best in the league, and it's great. Yeah.
Matt, you guys have LCC on your schedule coming up in Week 10 again. They're out of the NWC. What's your take on that? You guys have such a great rivalry with them. Do you think you'll continue to play them down the road? And what's your take on one of your biggest rivals in Week 10?
I mean, they're always there at the end of our season. They're always, we always look out for them. It's definitely a big week for us to finish out the regular season strong. And but going throughout the season, we'll just still take it week by week.
Certainly.
We'll focus on one game at a time. We'll get to them Week 10, and they always bring competition. It's always fun to play them. So I'll be looking forward to it my senior season.
And that T-Bird Bulldog matchup you'll be able to see on at WOSN. One of 4 Ada Bulldog games currently on our schedule. We're going to take a timeout in this GA Windsor & Son playoff preview, and we come back more from the Ada Bulldogs on WOSN.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Welcome back to Ada High School here. Our final segment with the Ada Bulldogs, who went 10-2 a season ago, made it to the 3rd round of the playoffs. Some of these guys on last year's team now joining us here. Austin Dunbar sitting next to me, and Hunter Waller down there on the far end of the set. 10 wins a season ago, Austin. I'm sure you guys are hoping for more of the same success here in 2013. What goals do you have for yourself here in your senior season?
Oh, it's definitely just to get to the playoffs, obviously, like we've done in the past, and just kind of feel pressure as a senior to be as successful as the past classes have been.
Hunter, Coach talked earlier about punching holes in water, and new guys have to fill in those holes. One of those holes that has left due to graduation, Callan Decker, the school's all-time leading rusher. What can we expect out of the Ada rushing attack this season?
Killen's hard to replace, but we got a lot of people that are stepping up and really doing well for us.
Austin, what do you think of the NWC coming up this season? It seems like all the teams really evenly matched. Everyone's got high expectations kind of going into this year. Maybe who's your biggest rival, and what do you think of the conference here in 2013?
Even though LCC's not in the conference, that's still a game you definitely look forward to because, we haven't beat them since I've been in high school. So, Crestview is definitely one on there. Jefferson, I'd say probably.
Okay.
Jefferson Week 9, LCC Week 10, Crestview Week 7. So a tough ending of the season. Beginning of the year, new opponent to open up the season, traveling to East Clinton after Hardin Northern had to cancel their season. Hunter, you looking forward to playing a new team in Week 1 after years of playing Hardin Northern?
Definitely. It's new competition, new everything. It's good for both of us going in because both teams really don't know much about each other. So
do you know what East Clinton's nickname is?
The Bears or Master?
Astros. They're the Astros.
Astros, all right.
A little different there, but yeah, a little baseball reference thrown in out there. But yeah, it's got to be cool having a new opponent in that regards, and then the rest of the schedule obviously going to be tough for you guys. Do you think, Austin, you guys can compete and maybe get that top spot in the NWC this year?
Oh, yeah. We've been competing, and I look forward to keeping that up.
Finally, Hunter, under Coach Olwen, what have you noticed that's been different so far?
A lot of things more up-tempo, stuff like that, at a faster pace. But it's all just to get better,
What do you like about Coach so far, Austin, in his first couple days here? He's watching right to you, so you're a little bit on the spot here. What can you say about Coach and his style thus far?
It's definitely a more tighter shift ran around. Coach Fell was a little bit more loose, but, he's got to stay honest because we can't be loafing around, so he'll keep us good. We won't be loafing.
You guys' eyes are wide open all the time, then, looking out.
Yeah,
no loafing for the Ada Bulldogs, and that's going to wrap up our GA Windsor & Son playoff or preseason preview of the Bulldogs as they hope to make it back to the playoffs for an 8th straight year. For Chris Parks and for all of our guests, thank you for joining us on WOSN.